Hey, what's up? This is your girl Diamond. I am here with the wonderful Miss Toni Newman, the author of I Rise.
Transformation of Toni Newman by Toni Newman.
Beautiful, beautiful.
There's
beautiful,
the book
beautiful.
right here.
I brought you guys Miss Toni and her book earlier, like a couple of months ago, when it was all over the internet, still is, still hot, about the controversy that she is bringing from her book. And when I brought you guys that conversation, it was because I was reacting to the controversy and how it's being marketed. So somebody, one of Miss Toni's friends, brought her my video, and she contacted me and we discussed it, and I wanted you guys to experience what I experienced on the phone with her, and so she can tell you exactly all the things that was her purpose in the book, not the mess.
Not the gossip. The gossip is the way to get it out, but my book really has no gossip in it. It just talks about 25 years of a journey. I did mention rapper, actor, comedian, but I kept it moving. I didn't name names. I'm not like that girl Stefan, who they're calling me the TS Stefan. She's named 25 names, I think 50 names. I didn't go there. I named people by occupation. Saying on that night I met so-and-so, a rapper. I described a little bit and kept it moving. So my book really is not about those three names that you've heard. Maybe 2 pages of that in the book. The rest is really about transgender, us, the Latins, the Black, what we go through, who we are, because I didn't see a book talking about who we are.
Okay. So tell me about the beginning of your life, your transition, where you're from, all that kind of stuff.
I'm originally from Jacksonville, North Carolina, home of Camp Lejeune Marine Corps base. Middle-class family, happy home. I have
mom and dad.
I've never been abused, never been sexually assaulted. That's been a myth. I've heard people call and say, well, when were you abused? So I've never been abused. I was treated well. I was a good student. And my life was relatively good. I knew there was something different about me at 9, 10. Thought it was just homosexual. Thought it was just gay. Felt feminine, but didn't know how to identify that I had a gender disorder, meaning I felt opposite sex of being man to woman. And graduated high school, got a scholarship, went to Wake Forest, met Dr. Angelou, who I titled my book after her poem, I Rise, because the poem talks about coming from nothing, coming from dirt, coming from, you don't exist to exist. So I named the book I Rise. So I exist, and I just want people to know that, we exist. You don't see Black, Latin, transgenders, but we are here.
When did you graduate from Wake Forest?
I got a BA degree in sociology in 1985 from Wake Forest, and immediately started a graduate program at that point, and went home to work at Coastal Carolina Community College as a counselor to students and the Marines. I got transferred to the United States Marine Corps base, and being a college counselor, that was a ball.
At this time you hadn't transitioned.
I was cross-dressing. When I did play, I would make sure I had my little wig on. I didn't have anything like that. Had not taken any hormones, had no ass. Just a real skinny, flat little boy, really feminine, bald-headed, smooth, put a wig on, put some dresses on, and hit it. So I was a counselor by day and a cross-dresser by night on the base and then around the military. That's how I got my break-in with the Marines. They broke me in.
So how did you get to New York?
I left Jacksonville from there. Went to Raleigh, North Carolina to wait for Wake Tech. Was assistant to the dean of evening programs, Dr. Robertson. And we were having a drink one night, him and the 4 other assistants that he had. And he just went around the room and asked everybody something like, are you happy? I'm a dean, you all are doing a great job for the evening program. He ran the whole evening school, and we were his assistants, like an assistant to the dean. And I'm making very good money. I was working on my master's, living in Raleigh, big city in North Carolina. Like a little small New York, beautiful city, right? Bigger than anything else we had in North Carolina. So it was like a city, and it had a good club, and the cross-dressing was good. But I wasn't happy with being the cross-dresser and the guy. So I decided to come to New York to start fresh, to start the cross-dressing thing. So I moved to New York, and did not have the courage to do it then. I got here, didn't know anybody. I reached out to a couple of cross-dressers who were showgirls, wasn't friendly, didn't know how to do the hormones. The doctor that I had at the time, who was under my insurance, advised me not to put that in my body. I could die, it's going to kill you, it's not going to work out like you thought. So at that point, I still, 4 years later, still had not done it. I went to New York to do it, and I didn't have no courage. I didn't have nobody to look to say, you can do it. Was strong in other areas, but when it got to that, putting the wig on, I went out one time in the daytime, and some boys like threw a bottle at me or something. And I was like, oh shit, I can't do this, I can't do this. And I did. So for 4 years, I lived in New York, worked in New York, hanging out in that scene, but still cross-dressing. So it took me 4 years after I arrived in New York to get enough courage to rise. Because the biggest thing I find with most of us is we're afraid. When you have nobody supporting you, you are afraid to do what you know is here. You're afraid. People don't take you too kindly when you first start out, or they didn't do me. Others have been more lucky. I wasn't received well.
One thing that I want to hit on, kind of what I'm thinking about, because you don't have the courage and you don't have people who are saying, be strong,
it's you,
okay,
do you,
you look lovely, la la la.
Regardless,
we go through a process of needing validation.
Yes, we do.
Agree with that?
Yes.
So we go through a process of needing validation, so that leads us to being friends with people who are not good people. That leads us to doing things,
hanging out with people that we normally would not reach out to. Because at that point in New York, 14th Street was a training button. That was where all your popular trainers were. Miss Josie, Miss Lizzie, these girls were fabulous. So I went out to them. They had crack habits, meth habits, all kinds of habits. Strong drinkers. I drank a little wine at that point and smoked a little weed, but I was really just mellow. They were heavy duty. So then you got into that, you work in the street. They said, this is how you have to make your money, because there's no other way for you. Nobody wants you. We're the only one for you. So you start hanging out with a group of people. The training doctor come and pump me in all these places. I'm getting pumped in the backseat of a van. I'm giving out $100. I'm taking pills, and she said, take one each day, this whole pack. I didn't even know what I was taking. I could have been taking crack. I just did what everybody else was doing. And that's what I'm trying to let people know. It's got to be a better way than what I did. It took me 15 years. I should be dead. I shouldn't even be here.
Do you feel do you regret going to New York? Because you're saying you were happy, you were making good money, that you were happy, but because you were not doing your
transition. If I had stayed there, I probably could retire as an assistant dean, if not an associate dean. They loved me there. But I wasn't happy
with yourself.
The inner spirit was weak, because I was two people. That Toni guy by day, and then at night I'm dressing, hanging out with the girls. That's a hard life to live. So for me, the two roles, some have lived it. I know a guy who's done it for 40 years, 2 roles. He's now vice president of a college. Started with me. He dresses at night, guy by day. Boyfriend likes him to dress up. That wasn't really my thing. I just wanted to be one thing. I wanted to be who I was, in and out. And that was my choice. So it took me 15 years just to get enough courage to say, this is what I got to do. I didn't have enough courage within myself to even do it, because I had no one to look to. And I think most Black and Latin trainees, I didn't know nobody who wrote a book, talked about nothing. Most of the people I saw were white. They wasn't willing to help me. They had family. They didn't work the streets, and most of the Black and Latino sisters had no family, no communication. They were working the streets, told me nobody else wanted me but them. And then I started getting into a crowd that was really risky. You know, a lot of unsafe sex going on, a lot of drugs, alcohol abuse. But I came out of that. I was lucky and blessed, but most are not. Most trans Black, 10 years down the road, they hooked on something and they can't get off. It's not a good road.
So you got into the scene in New York. You got in the escort business.
I did.
Started on the street.
I did.
Transferred to the internet.
Arrows, Backpage, Craigslist.
All the big sites.
That's when that was really hot.
When it was hot, 2000.
Working with white trannies, Black trannies, we hooked up. Then I got into mistressing. I put my leather on and all my cop outfit, my high boots. dick fetishes and really start traveling to Vegas, Boston, Miami, Orlando, Canada.
And I'm sure you're making tons of money.
Very good money, but most of that, I must say, was going into travel and the lifestyle. Meaning I had to keep hormones. I had to keep, at that point I was taking hormones, lasers, silicone shots. You know, people don't understand the money that's involved
in
for
becoming
a
woman.
guy. Because in order to keep that hair off your body, you can keep shaving, but you got to get electrolysis or laser to keep it off. And those were, at that point, she was charging me, what, $200 a session. And I would go every 10 to 11 days, month after month. Every 2 weeks, I'm going to get lasers. I was spending about $1,000 a month in hormones and weaves and nails and hair. It's not cheap.
Do you feel like you got complacent in the money?
I do, which I think got maybe 200 letters of transgender women from across, especially Black and Latin, saying you are making us look bad. I'm going to say what I know to be my truth. All the Black trannies I know, all the Latin trannies I know work in the escort business. They make money, they get that sugar daddy, they make that money from that day. They don't get judged. There's no ridicule. They don't go to work and feel that being shunned, which we do. Sometimes we go out in public. So we stick to that road. I decided after doing it for 7 years, it's got to be a better way.
So what was the moment that you said, okay, I'm making this amount of money, I'm surviving on it, I have my regulars, la la la. When did you say, okay, there's a better way, so now what do I do?
I was working with a female named Mrs. Coleman, a very well-dressed Black guy. What I remember, came in the house. She normally takes him in her room and brings the money out over to my room. She got the money from him, and they began to do a date. At that point, he began to choke her. He had intended, to kill her. He was a psychopath. She yelled out, "Come help me, Terry." I come out in my shorts and a tank top, run to the next room. He is 6 feet tall, maybe 200 pounds. At that point, I never encountered a date within the home that we really had to get down. I had never really had to fight a date on the street. Oh, yeah. A weed pulled off, got a guy punched me in the face in the car, so I'm giving my money back, grabbed my kids. But in the apartment, we was always so careful. We saw them come out, if they talk real slang or whatever, we never saw them. If they said, "Hey, bitch," the wording was important to us. If they act respectful on the phone, we played it well. This guy came in, looked the part, acted the part, psychopath. I jumped in, this guy hit me, knocked me clear to the wall. We banging it. I didn't go out, I kept like a little baseball bat right by the door. Boom, knocked him down, got him down. He's still swinging. Had to hit him again, and I said, I better stop, because we hit him too much. We're going to kill this guy, who actually came to kill her. And at that night, I said to myself, maybe that's a sign from God. She was traumatized. I was traumatized. I was cut on the arm. He hit me in my face with this. I had braids at that time. He, I think, yanked about 9 of them out. And then I said at that point, I had been writing a book, putting some notes on a pad. I had an LPN nursing degree, a certificate I'd done a computer certificate. I had a half of an MBA. I said, you got to go back to school. You got to figure out another way. At that point, I figured we could have been killed that night. He was really strong. If he came with a knife or a gun, they'd have said a female and transgender were killed in Las Vegas last night. Turned out they were escorts because you see all the little stuff and the numbers and the ads. People would have counted us as dead. Won't nobody but her and I there. He could have killed us both and left. And maybe never found him. And I told her that night, I'm going to start working on finishing my book. She then went to flight attendant school and makeup school. I said, you gotta do something else. We lay around here in the daytime. She studied, I studied, and that's how I started moving out. Business was getting slow anyway.
And you're still working, but
still working. And worked through the book for 3 years.
Right.
I wrote the book in 300 legal pads. Going to school from 8 to 12. Told people we were available from 1 until midnight. Worked 1 until midnight, got up 8 to 12. She would go to the flight attendant school, aviation. I was going to community college, taking certificates and so forth. So I began to get back to that level of who I really was. Somebody who liked to study, liked to do other stuff, but had got complacent with putting on the outfit and making my 150, 200, and had my 5 or 6 regulars every week, making my sometime 1,000, sometime 800. So after I had to battle him, I said, I could be dead. I got to get out of here.
Okay, so you said, all right, that situation happened. It's time to go. You started studying. You started to do
Still escorting.
Still escorting.
But started focusing on that creative side.
Mm-hmm.
Who Toni Newman
transferring
was born to be, but just got in the wrong body. Because I've always been Toni, but I was just born in the wrong body. I've been trying to correct it for 15 years, and at that point, I say, look, I'm pretty happy now. I got to start working on the other aspects, my mind, my spirit, reconnecting to my soul. Because once you get into this, sometimes you lose yourself. So busy trying to be a woman. At least I lost myself. Others say they haven't. But I had lost myself. So busy trying to make money, survive, and be a woman. There was no time to do nothing.
So, we got to talk about the mess.
Okay.
So, the meat and potatoes of your book is basically, just the 25 years of you going through your transition.
Basically starts in New York. I started as a child. Mm-hmm. But the real meat of the potato start when after I left my regular profession, chapter 3, start getting real gritty in chapter 4, where I start talking about now I'm on the street. Right. I'm getting pumped. We call her trainee doctor. She keeps it sealed in a packet. Right. She got the pills. This is $250. This is $300. Right. You got to pay me. I do one side today, come back tomorrow and do the other side. Money. And while I was homeless, I was still getting my body right, trying to thicken up. I was real skinny, trying to put meat on it, trying to get hips. And that cost me hundreds of dollars. Like half the money I was making, I was putting it right in my body with estrogen pills, blockers, silicone shots, electrolysis, weaves. It was very expensive.
A lot of times I see younger girls, they sacrifice what is empowering what you just said, because a lot of times because you're trying to fill this void when you're younger, you're trying to be this woman and be this, be that part of you, who you are, you neglect the other side of you, the side that wants an education, the side that wants
you just
more.
Creative. You could be doing hair before you even got into this shit and be good at hair. But you're so busy trying to be a woman and take you got to get bigger titties, you got to get hips. I got to get myself together so the dates will think I'm fierce, and I get my clothes together. You're so busy trying to be a woman, you neglect your creative side.
Right. Your creative or your altruistic or whatever
that you
else
really
you
like to do.
On.
You could enjoy that. Hey, I like motorcycle racing. Right. But you can't motorcycle racing and do this full time. That type of thing left. I like to study and read, but I hadn't read a book maybe in 8 years while I was transforming on the street. There was no time to read a book. I had no place to stay at the time. And then I became an escort. The phone is ringing. Then I had 2 working with me and a female. I'm putting the ads up every day, taking pictures, putting new pictures up. People don't realize that professional escorting is a job. We were not on crack. Nobody in my house. We didn't do a lot of alcohol. That wasn't allowed. Some had problems. I said, while you working, we keep it clean. We had the makeup on, they open the door, the matching outfits. It is a job to service these guys who are paying $2, $3, and for some of these girls $400 for double. It was a job. And that's another story in itself. Escorting is really a job. It's never going to go away. I'm going to leave it. It's never going to stop. Never.
It's always a new girl.
Oh. And they love the trannies and the females.
Together.
And their fetishes and their outfits. Together, separate. You leave. Get her back in here. It's never. These women can think, oh, they're dirty people. These guys have needs, desires, and fetishes that they would never even express to their partners.
Some of the people that have been mentioned in the controversy is LL, Cool J, and Eddie Murphy. One of the things when I first heard about it, I was like, how had Eddie Murphy already kind of been exposed?
He had, I'll tell you how that came to be. My publicist, Cale Anderson, took me to the National Enquirer.
Uh-huh.
He showed the book to them. At that time, a manuscript. We were not published yet. And I hired him as a publicist to help me with the book. I always had an agent, a manager, and I had a lawyer, a black girl, who was my lawyer, advised me, you're going to need an angle. Your book by itself, transgender, is not a hot topic. Talking about your troubles and all that, people really don't care because y'all are such a small community. And it's not that known. She said, you're going to have to hit another angle. Because within the gay and lesbian and bisexual, we are the T. And we, I feel in my mind, are the most least represented. I don't see a lot of transgender on the boards in all of these gay and lesbians. I don't see transgender on TV. As you do Ellen, as you do gay actors, as the guy on that show, How I Met Your Mother. They are very visible. So gay boys and gay girls can see themselves on TV. I didn't see anybody like me on TV, and that's what my publicist told me, that you're going to have to reveal who that rapper, who that comedian that you say you had seen so many times before. And I went to the Enquirer and they asked me the names. I said, who is it? And I said the names of that comedian I'd seen on the block. Ooh, I seen Eddie Griffin on the block so much. He would come out there so often picking up girls. He never picked up me. I never even spoke to the guy. But he picked up my roommate so many times.
Right.
You know, and I would go to the room. Oh, that's him. I didn't believe you, girl. Get back in the thing. Get back. don't try to take my dad. I think you want to date me, honey. He liked them tall, from what I can tell.
Like his wife.
He liked tall girls. Diamond was tall. Patricia was tall. I'm 5'6" without heels. I never saw him pick up a short girl. No matter how long you said you were. Most of the girls he picked up were 5'10", 5'11", or 6 feet. He liked big girls who were tall. That wasn't my case. He picked up Diamond in Brooklyn, many times. And I knew then, she said, she's never going to pick you, girl, but you're short.
Okay, so what happened with L?
Met L, like I met so many other guys. One time encounter, he gave me my coin, what I'd initially asked for. We got in, very nice guy. Not a whole lot of talking. I began to service him, give him more sex. He touched my body, hands rolled all over. I did not have full intercourse with him, meaning I did not fuck him, but we did traditional. I was the bottom, and he played with me, touched my body, and I blew it. He gave me, from what I can remember, and let's be clear now, I said $500. That was 13 and a half years ago. From what I wrote in my notes, back in 2005, I wrote $500 because it was like 9 to 10 times that regular 50 that I got. So I got $450, $500, which at that time on the street is blessed.
On the street?
Oh, yeah. You blessed. When you got that type of money, I went and got my little hotel room down in Harlem, paid my $100 for the week, and for that whole week, for 2 weeks. Had a place to stay. It was a crack house. It was a crack hotel, cheap. But I went to my little 99-cent burger place and got my burgers and chicken and slept in the day and went back at night. And that kind of helped me get on my feet because I had a place for 2 weeks until I had $200 left over. So I had money, and then I made another 50, 60 the next night. And things started picking up. He was a nice guy.
That was a blessing.
That was he was. And people keep saying, you trying to out hip hop. I'm just telling you what happened to me. Now, since it's happened to me, I've had over 100 emails. Flight attendant, he fucked me. Gay boy in New York, limo driver said I had it. I'm not even trying to tell that story. There's a book coming out, I think, in July from Def Jam writer who's writing about LL and all the shit that went on that he knows. I never even addressed that. People gave me all of that stuff in my ear. You going on the radio tonight? You telling me you had a flight attendant. His name is Joe. No. I'm only going to say what happened to me one time. I didn't say he was my lover. I never said he called me and made me feel like I'm his girlfriend. He picked me up as a whore. I serviced him as a trained whore. He paid me extremely well for my services. I've never spoke to that man, email, text, anything in over a decade.
So my question to you is how, because a lot of people thought that I was like reading or something on mine. My thing was, you said he was a nice guy, he blessed you for that week. How do you justify this?
Now, I have seen guys who would make LL look like a child. I know guys now, when I became a full escort, who are governors, senators, appellate judges, NFL football players, who you guys would really like. On the street, which was in my opinion, my lowest moment. I cried many a nights. I contemplated many a nights while sleeping in Central Park on that heated vent because I had to change every night because if you sleep the same place and they know you're a working girl, they'll come and watch. So I had to keep moving around. I didn't have a place to go. Most of the girls were living with somebody else, so I could stay a night or two. I don't feel on the street as a street prostitute when half the time I didn't even have a place to sleep or eat. Sometimes I hadn't ate for 2 days, that there's any type of bond. Now, when they came to my home and brought me money and gifts and wine and that type of thing, I wrote about them in a different manner. But on the level of street prostitution, which these guys I saw as a street whore, I was treated as a street whore. I was not respected in any manner. I don't feel that I owe them, even a nice guy, even I never had anything. I saw him. I only spoke of my street days and what I had and what I saw. That's all I did.
So because it's not a bond, you feel like,
right.
I don't have to care about
And I was a street whore. I was homeless. During that time, Elle had picked me up. I had been on the street for almost 4 days. I just ate that day. One of my girls made some coins from a regular, and we went to eat at OJ or some chicken place. So I felt good. The night before, I was a little sick because I had ate, and if I hadn't ate with her that day, probably wouldn't have been out that night at that late hour because I was hungry and I was too busy trying to eat and rest to work.
What made you choose to expose him and not the governors and judges and that type of thing?
They asked me, the inquirer, Sarah Corday, the rapper is, would it be LL Cool J? We have got tons of information. Eddie Murphy, he tried to sue us. We got 10 girls. He paid them off and got an affidavit, showed me some of the stuff on the internet where he paid the girls. Through one of the girls who tried to write a book on it at that time, outing Eddie Murphy. She wrote the book in an ebook, Eddie Murphy in the Closet. $15,000, some time later, everything went away. So they said, we already know that to be fact. We ain't got a polygraph on that. Mr. C, I just mentioned that he was a Hot 97 DJ. At that point, they weren't even interested. Who he worked with Biggie, he's big on the East Coast. Over here, not so much. So they said, you know what? That guy now not even a senator anymore. He's retired. That guy ain't even governor no more. He ain't nobody. I didn't mention the senator and the governor. I said, LL's who we want. That's who we're going to polygraph. That's it.
And so you took a polygraph.
So they said, send us all your paperwork. I wrote a whole story about my beginning to end. It was lovely. They're going to run a whole expose on me, mention LL Cool J, but talk about the black trans street prostitution. I sent them pictures of the guys, the girls, everything. They gave me a polygraph. I sat there for hours. One here, something on here. And I could see the line just did you have sex with him? Did he pay you? Were you lovers? One time. Did he trick you? You're not. You were lovers. Many times. No, one time. Hold mind. Back and forth. She comes in. You have a contract. It says LL Cool J at the top. I signed, she signed. You come out 2 weeks from Monday. You're going to be an inquiry on the front page. You're good to go. I didn't feel great about it, but it's going to help my book. Selfish reasons, maybe not the best reasons, but I do have a product to sell. I tried to sell it from straight love and compassion and transformation. Nobody wanted it. Transgender is not a hot topic. Black transgenders are not a hot topic. Chaz Bono is Cher's son. Sonny was famous. Chaz was on TV as a child. We got clips of that. You're really nobody. Who's your mother? Who's your father? A lot of the ones who come out, the Arquette girl, sisters are big actresses. Sister-in-law is, on Friends. I had no, and they say, black transgenders, RuPaul is a cross-dresser, but he's not even transgender. He's about the famous thing you got. This is what I was hearing. So I'm like, look, I got a book. It's got something in it. It's going to help somebody. You're going to learn something. So I did that in polygraph. And at that point, I thought I was coming out in the choir, and that was going to be the end of that.
I hear what you're saying as far as I know the message in the book. It's
about us.
It's about us.
Trying to make it.
Do you feel that going the exposure route kind of takes away from that?
I feel now I'm just beginning to get in. The interviews I'm having lately are now beginning to talk about me in the book. It's taken me almost 2 months. Because in the previous 2 months, they don't want to know nothing but about Street Horn, Mr. C, Eddie Murphy, and LL Cool J.
Right.
Why are y'all prostitutes? All they want to know is about sex. What do most of the men want from y'all? Since I'm wanting A, B, B, C, C, D, it varies.
A, B, C, D.
How do men want women? Sometimes he want to do you in the front, he does her in the back. It's how he feels. There's no one way. Some suck, some don't get sucked. Some say they're straight, some say they're bi, some say nothing. For 2 months it's taken me now to get to the point that I'm supposed to be trying to go on a TV show now and talk about the book, Transgender. And someone like Janet Mock, who's the associate editor of People, who's post. Why did she go post? Why did I do pre? Why am I not post? That's what I want to do now.
So now it's about
beginning,
positive.
But it took 2 months. But I must admit, none of y'all would know my name. None of y'all would know who this is if it wasn't for that. That lit the internet up. I didn't think it was going to be that important. It went crazy. I did 42 radio interviews, Miss Jones in Philly, all kinds. That has put me on the book, and the book has sold very well. In 2 months it's been out. I've done not bad. I say not bad. Not bad for a transgender book about black transgenders, which is not a hot topic that most publishers didn't even want to touch. They didn't even think we were valuable enough. How many of y'all is in the country? Isn't it less than 3%? True. Out of 350 million, there's less than 3% estimated to be transgender. Out of that, maybe 1% are transgender who are black and Latin. 1% does not make a majority power.
No.
And we're not recognized as a power, even in our own GLBT. We are I would say, the least amount of people out of the four. There are more bisexuals than us, there are more lesbians than us, there are more gays than us. So, we're not getting as much power. We don't have as much clout, and we're not visible like your Ellens and your other celebrities who are out, and people treat them lovely. We just don't have it.
What is your goal now? Now you have your book, it's on the shelf, it's available everywhere. What can you, where do you want to go with this? Like, what is your...
I'm not in law school now, but I would like to get a law degree. Would love to practice law. I have been arrested on 3 occasions, indecent exposure, because I was walking around with no clothes on the street, solicitation, and intent to prostitute. Up until I got on the street, I had no criminal record. Never been arrested up to 26, 27. I started the street stuff. I had no criminal record and no interaction with the police. Once I got picked up for solicitation, treated bad. You got broke my arm, handcuffed me, not resisting. Got before the judge, went some name calling, you people, this type of thing. And I don't like the way the legal system treats your black and your Latin and your minority transgender. So for me, I like to practice a little law. So if a girl is really in trouble, she can call somebody, such as the Transgender Legal Defense Fund, which I'm trying to give a little money to in New York, run by Mike. They do help the girls on a more serious note. They can't come down and do your little petty stuff. But I find girls in jail now over bullshit. There are girls serving time on a misdemeanor over bullshit because they didn't have anyone to tell them, you're supposed to go to jail for this. This is not a criminal offense. It's supposed to be 30 days community service and out, not 60 days in jail. You have your Lindsay Lohan breaking the law, violating probation. She don't serve no time, and they'll lock her training up for 6 months and counting. She'll stay there for 4 months before they let her out over a misdemeanor. We're not treated fair, so I would like to get a law degree, and from that point, I'm open. That's my next goal, is to go to finish law school. So I could be a lawyer and step into the courtroom and legally represent mainly transgender. I mean, GLBT is cool, but I'm really into transgender, white or black, mainly black and Latin, who get railroaded, because I got railroaded. I never served any time in jail, but I did 60 days of community service for a 2-week community service stuff. He made me go every day from 8 to 5 down to the courthouse for 2 months for solicitation. Second offense. That's crazy. So I had to 8 to 5, take a nap at night, and go back out at 9 and do the same thing I was arrested for the 2 months. It's a cycle. I'm just trying to break the cycle to let us know. Let your creative juices flow. Maybe you don't want to write a book, but maybe you want to be a nurse. Maybe you can do hair, do makeup. Get you another gig so you're not so dependent upon the escort thing. That's all. I've done that.
Let me say this. As we wrap up, I want you to specifically talk to my audience, specific ones. When it comes to, let's talk to the African American, native-born women. What do you have to say to them? What are they going to take from this book?
If you ever see a black or Latino transgender sister, don't judge so harshly. Open your mind. Maybe if you met her, talk to her, you might learn something new. Not all transgenders are loud, abrasive, violent, and hooked on addiction, such as drugs and alcohol. I found most of my black sisters said most of y'all are whores and drunks and hooked on drugs. That's not true. I am not. I was a whore. I was an escort. I was a prostitute. I am not now. And I've never been hooked on alcohol or drugs. So if you learn anything about me, I would say ask your partner, is he bisexual? A lot of you all are living, you call my life a lot, living with people you have no idea who you're dealing with.
That's to the females. What about the men? What do you have to say to them? What are they going to take from your book, and what is the message that you want to say to them?
Stop lying, brother. Stop lying, brother.
And
I know NFL, NBA, actors, politicians. I ain't had them all. But I have trainees out for 10 years. I knew these girls. We have talked about names that will blow your mind over and beyond LL, that are dealing with people of my nature, of my class, of my type. So my whole thing is, why is it so difficult for you all to admit, hell yeah, I'm bisexual? It's not a crime. You obviously do it more than once and like it. So why is it that when you're asked, and we're brought up in conversation, you have to demean me to elevate yourself? You call me, I never touch no shit like that. I've heard you. When I walked in the mall with my good friend who comes to me once a week, and they was training those 5 girls. It's crazy. They're giggling and laughing. And I look back, you're doing all the talking, you're doing all the laughing. That's your sign there, people. The one who talks the loudest, who's got the most words to say, he's mainly the one you should watch. But one thing that I've learned, don't degrade me and say, I'm trash, I'm psycho, I'm confused, to elevate yourself.
That's the problem that I have. Yes. I think that a lot of time, when you don't even have to say anything, just keep your mouth closed.
You see me, and because our friends are making jokes, they ain't bothering nobody. Let's go. Y'all come on.
So what do you have to say to your sisters, the trans girls that are out here, whether they be young, older? What do you have to say to them?
I know y'all don't want to hear this, but you're going to have to get jobs. That escort business is not what it used to be. I know 5 or 6 young ladies that are just here with me. I didn't allow them to do it here. But they came over and spent the night for dinner when they wasn't working. And I mean, I cooked. They had not made no money for the day. 10 years ago, it was our way. It was our bread and butter. It was popping. The streets were popping. Street prostitution is pretty much over. LA and New York don't tolerate it. Your big cities are cracked down on it. Your internet, your Craigslist is gone. The escort business is not going to sustain you like it used to us. I'm sorry for you that it has not done it for you, but back in my day, we made coins. There are no coins to be made at that level now to sustain your hormones and to sustain your pleasure and your living. It's just not enough money. It's not what it used to be. You got to find something else that you like, whether it be nursing, makeup, whatever your creative side is, whatever that is. Not everybody will judge you wrong. I heard one girl said, "I want a motorbike race." She's a white tranny. She's now on the motorbike racing circuit. Racing. They're doing it. So why if the white was so easy to venture on and we're so in our box, thinking this is all we can do? We're very talented people. But the money's not there. I think Diamond can attest with me. Back in the day, coins and steadies were beautiful. But now you have to travel, and even when you travel, it's just not like it used to. They're not coming to us like they used to. Well, it's so free now. The internet, some girls are giving it away for free. Adult friend finder, they're all over the place now. It's not like it was so secret before. It used to be the block and the internet just opened it up, and now it's, you got transgender everywhere.
You got little boys putting on wigs.
And now you've got the guys who put on the wig.
Just to make money.
Throw on the pad, throw on this. Now when the clothes come off, the guy's very disappointed that all that body's not body, but for the illusion, it does the trick. And he's taking where you hormoning and going to get your C cups. These guys putting on C cup pads, C cup ass, and taking them coins. These guys don't even seem that they want to see the fully transformational girls. They're taking the young, I put my wig on, I shave a little bit, and here I go, and take your money and keep it walking. He'll leave and take his thing off and go to the gay club and jump around.
I want to thank you for allowing me this opportunity to interview you.
Thank you for having me.
Clearing everything up.
And I want to commend Diamond. She has a degree. She's doing other stuff. She has other things going on. This is what I'm trying to encourage everybody else to do. She will attest, we have to get a job. We don't have to work. We got to come out the dolphins.
One thing that I kind of, for me, my own personal testimony is I was complacent in the business. I was making money. It got slow. It was enough, even when it got slow, it was enough to keep me going.
Yeah.
But I was not doing what I was passionate about. I was not doing
you don't want to
anything
look
that I
on
was
the
proud
10
of.
years later and do the same thing.
Right.
And be 45, 50, still trying to hustle. There's more to us than the hustle.
Right.
There's more to us than the ching-ching with my coins. What do you want? There's more to us than that. Right. And that's what this is about. The us.
Tell them where they can find it.
You can get it on Amazon, Google. The book in itself is about $30 because it's all color front and back, color pages. There will be a black and white version coming out in about a month, but in the meantime, you can get it on ebook, download it right on your computer, and it's already ready for you to read for like $9. Apple, Sony, PC, Mac, BlackBerry, iPod, any downloading application you have on the computer, or you can order it off Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, many places. Just type in I Rise Toni Newman book. I think it's on about 52 stores now and about 400 websites.
Thank you all for joining us, and this has been your girl Diamond Stylz and Miss Toni Newman. Thank you guys for joining us.
God bless. That was good. That was good, girl.